Hello, everybody. My name is Sean from Z-Sigs, and today we're going to talk about the eGrip 2. Before we talk about the eGrip 2, I would like to mention the eGrip 1, as of course this one is called the eGrip 2, whatever happened with the eGrip 1. eGrip 1 came out and it went through a lot of different changes. It was kind of mind-numbing how they kept on coming out with changes and really trying to fix all of the different designs that you had. But the eGrip was kind of one of the very first all-in-one units that we had here. And I happen to have one of the original eGrip 1 units here. Now, it was a great unit where it was all in one. What I mean by all in one is you have your tank, your heating element, everything built in, your battery, everything that you want into one nice little compact size. Of course, we're departing from your traditional length of a e-cig, but to get into all of these different options that these units had, you really had to go with this kind of a style, and this is one of the things that you see. If you are somebody who has moved over from smoking and you just want a really good unit, then getting into this kind of this box style, and as you can see, it's not very thick things that you had there. So now here we have the eGrip 1. Now the first thing I'd like to mention with this is very, very heavy, extremely heavy. You could probably use this as a personal defense device if you threw it hard enough. That's how heavy this guy was here. So you did have that. Now, of course, you did have the onboard display, which is great. Up here is where you'd have your fire button, and this was also a little dial that you would change to change your wattage settings. There was an inherent problem here where they didn't have a lockout feature for that, so it's very common that you could accidentally move up your wattage way, way high up there. You can blow your heating element, your coil that you had. So that was one of your big issues that you had there. Also, you had your charge point on the bottom on this specific unit. Now, the charge point on a lot of these and this unit here, you had what's called the USB PTC. What that means is you can charge it while you're physically using it. That's great. On this model here, I think they intended maybe having it, sitting sideways on a table, and then you had your charge point. But in the other model, they did change that. Your real big issue that you had with this particular guy here is number one, it did have airflow control, but it was extremely clumsy. What you would do is it would have a special tool. You would unscrew this portion right here, and after you unscrewed that portion, that would expose your airflow control, and you could actually get to your heating element. But again, that was a little bit messy that you had here. Finally was your fill port. Your fill port just not a great design that you had here. You'd open this up here, and then of course you'd have a very, very small hole there to fill your liquid. What would happen is you'd have that air and pressure, so as you tried to put that liquid in, some of it would flow out. So you definitely had quite a few different issues there. And now we talk about the eGrip 2. Now, I want to be very specific. There is what's called an eGrip 2, and then there's an eGrip 2 Lite. I am speaking today about the Lite because the eGrip 2 and the eGrip 2 Lite are the exact same models with one exception. The eGrip 2 Lite is made of a magnesium alloy. It's extremely light. In my opinion, there's no need for the eGrip 2. Just go right to the eGrip Lite, and that's why I'm featuring it in this particular video here. So here now we have the eGrip 2 Lite. This is the magnesium alloy that we have. As you can see, size is pretty darn similar, but a lot of great technology improvements were actually put into this one. My suggestion is this is the best unit on the market right now, right here in 2017 for pretty much your average vapor user. If you're one of those who is into massive clouds, things of that nature, of course, you want to go into the 100 watt, 200 watt, those different type of units. For a lot of us, like for myself, I would look at this unit here as great just for me and my regular habit because I still do use e-cigs. I just enjoy that kind of feeling that cigarettes used to give me. So on this model right here, now we're going to go through it. Of course, you have your onboard display, which is great. This is a variable voltage and wattage unit. Of course, I'm talking right now about the pros. I like to always talk about the pros and the cons of each unit that you have right here. So you have a very easy display. Yeah, they even threw a clock in there. And you can change that clock into your old school dial clock or a digital looking clock that you have. But getting back into here, now we have your charge point, which is hidden right down here on the bottom. Like I said, this is a USB PTC where you can plug it on in there, and then you can actually vape on it while you're using it. So that's very nice. Another great thing with this model here is this is a top fill design. So it's extremely easy to fill. All you do is unscrew this top portion that we have right here. and that gives you your tank. Now, this is a 3.5 milliliter tank as far as how much liquid that'll go in there. Your battery size is great, 2100 mAh. A normal user, it should get you through the entire day. But like I said, it's so easy to charge. You can be in the car. Notice that you're kind of down there as far as your battery life, because it will show it to you on your screen. Another great thing that you have right there. It's a very, very large, see it on the bottom here, folks, where it shows you exactly where your battery life is at. Just a half an hour worth of charging while you're actually using it, let's say in the car, that's going to be more than enough to kind of get you through, let's say if you have an evening event or something of that nature. Here on this specific model, we do have the heating element, the coil head, that is actually right there. So all of this comes out as one piece. And this is also where the airflow control is. I will get into all that a little bit later. Right now, I just want to talk about pros and cons. And then from there, we'll actually go into what's in the box and how to actually put this unit together and how to use it. Right now, I'm just talking about the pros and cons. Pros, like I said, everybody, 2100 mAh battery, 3.5 milliliter on your fill there, which is great. Top fill design. Your airflow is literally right on up here. Very nice, easy to read screen. You have your USB PTC plugs in. Now, let's get into the other thing why I really like this specific unit. Of course, you had what was called sub-ohm. I won't get into that in depth on this video. If you don't know about that, we do have, of course, on our website, the 5 keys to vaping. That is a little bit helpful, and that kind of gets into the sub-ohm and things of that nature. Well, each unit was kind of spec'd out at how low it can go in the sub-ohm range. And we typically kind of saw like that eGrip one that I was showing you, they spec'd out at 0.5. It just depended on the specific unit. Now on this guy right here, it specs out a heck of a lot lower. And what's great with that is it accommodates all the way down to what's called a 0.25 resistance coil, which is fantastic. Now that is your low end. And then going all the way up in your top end, you can put in a 0.5 coil, 1.0 coil, a 1.5 coil. Now, coil resistance is very important. It's extremely important in this day and age as far as the vaping has gone. It really, really helps you personalize your specific habit, and it's really opened up electronic cigarettes to pretty much every user that you have out there. If you happen to smoke cigarettes before and you're an extremely heavy user, these guys can now handle an enjoyable experience. So that is one of the nice things. Now, like I was saying, you had that full spectrum. I won't get into the coils here on this specific video, but like I said, we do have the information there for you. It's very important because it really dictates what your milligram level of your nicotine is going to be and a lot of other things that you have. What I liked about it is that 0.25 coil, for me personally, it really gave me a lot of warm, nice vapor, and it also gave me a very nice flavor, and that was something that I was really missing. I started on the 10 unit back in 2009. I love that unit. Have a lot of people that I know who that unit. And when we went into the clearamizers, that was going on for a couple of years there, a lot of people complained that it kind of muted the taste, and I felt the exact same way on a lot of those models. Here on this low end that you have, that 0.25, I saw that return of something that I really missed. So that was very nice. I did get that. The other nice thing with this is you have those coils that you can kind of change out, and you can move it on up as it goes, because it's important to know, like I just said, that 0.25, it's giving me that really great vapor. It's giving me that really great liquid. Well, you got to remember your coil, kind of think of it like a car engine, right? The more powerful of a coil that you have in there, the more like a car engine, the more gasoline that it's going to use. These guys here, it's going to use a heck of a lot more liquid. So you kind of want to find your middle point, or what a lot of people do is they'll literally just kind of change their coils out to whatever their habit is. If they're just running around during the day, it's not really about that enjoyment. Maybe they're going to put a little bit higher coil in there. And now you're not going to use as much liquid. It might not be as flavorful, or the vapor might not be as warm for you, but you're getting your satisfaction. Maybe a little bit later towards the end of the night, now you're going to throw in that 0.25 coil that I keep talking about, and now you're really going to enjoy everything. It's kind of more towards the end of the evening. Maybe you're having a cocktail, something of that nature. So that kind of tells you that it's a big deal. I know it might seem a little bit confusing, some of the different things that you're seeing of all of these options, and it feels overwhelming, and hopefully we're helping you here. Like I said, this is a great unit as far as the pros goes, because it kind of handles everything from one spectrum to the other, allows you to change change out your different coils. Your liquid that you actually have on board is fantastic, 3.5 milliliter. You're not messing around filling it up constantly. That 2100 mAh battery is pretty good. Going back into that, remember when I said that low coil, now you're going to be using a lot more of the liquid. Well, you're also going to use energy, right? You're going to use that battery life on board. So what you kind of decide is going to see how long your battery life is going to last between a recharge that you have. But that kind of tells you the pros. All-in-one units, I really think that this is going to be a very large part of the future. I think we're all very hopeful that we'll just keep on seeing everything get smaller and smaller, but there has to be, in technology right now, there has to always be a give and a take. Of course, we'd all like to have a very, very small unit that looks exactly like a cigarette and does everything for you, but technology is just not there. So now let's get into the cons. Now, on the cons in this particular unit here, some people might complain because it can't give you that next step, and I'm talking huge amounts of vapor. This guy goes to 80 watts, which is more than enough for pretty much everybody. But of course, that would be a con that you look at if you're looking for that truly huge unit, that cloud chaser unit that we kind of call, where you'd see somebody do like 5 feet worth of vapor. There are models that do go higher than this. So that would be kind of one of the cons. I kind of talked about the other con as far as the size, where some people just really dislike this box size, so they look at that as a con. But I'm really urging you to kind of look at these as far as the box design that actually goes. The last one that I'd like to say is on this model here, navigation and menu is a little bit difficult. Of course, this model here will do temperature control. Some people love temperature control. A lot of us just feel that's kind of marketing hype. That's a whole nother type of vaping. Of course, 5 keys of vaping, we talk about that there. And then you have memory settings. They're called M1 settings, M2, M3. And that just is a memory setting for what you like. You just program it in there and you can change it very quickly. Finally, of course, you have the regular good old wattage setting. So that just allows you to go up or down on your wattage that you have. That's pretty much what all of us use. Because it has so many features, you can change the colors. You can literally, and what I mean by colors, everybody, is this tank inside here will illuminate. That's very useful as far as when you're using the unit, and of course when you're charging the unit, it does give you those visual signals. But you can change that, of course, like I was saying, your clocks and everything that you have there. We literally would have to do a whole nother video for that. If you do want to see a video about how to do that, we can do it for you. But of course, that's where when we get into the box and the design, the menu will show you. So there is a little bit there. It's a little bit clumsy because it's not like a iPhone or a smartphone where you have all these different areas that you can touch very, very easily. You're limited to, of course, your fire button on the top, and then you kind of have a toggle button down here for your up and down. So I would put that a little bit as a con. It'll take a little bit of a learning. I know there's so much technology out there. You just want to grab it, pull it out of the box, and use it, but that would pretty much be about it that I'm saying as far as this unit as an all-in-one goes. So those are your pros and those are your cons. Now let's actually get into the physical box that you have right there. So here we have the eGrip 2 box. Now the first thing that you'll pull out after the unit itself, of course, is these 2 boxes. This box right here, this is going to have your micro USB cord. Micro USB, it's pretty much industry standard. They're all charging that way. If you've been around for a long time, you know that they used to come with the wall, the plug chargers. You're not seeing that pretty much anymore. In here is a ton of goodies. Like I said, this specific unit here, it takes a lot of different coils. What's really nice with Joyetech is they gave you those different coils right out of the box. So it's not that you're going to have to go and buy all these other things. You get to actually try these different coil heads. Now, I do want to make something extremely clear about this. You want to watch your milligram level on your nicotine as far as that resistance of the coil goes. If you're using the exact same nicotine level and it's a higher nicotine level, let's say you're somebody in that 18 milligram level or 24 milligram level, seriously, be careful because you can find yourself a little bit lightheaded, things of that nature, if you go down to that, really 0.25 coil, and you'll feel it in the throat too. And really, well, let's not talk about that. Let's keep what's in the box, right, everybody? So in this box that we have right here, now you have not 3, but actually 4 different coils. You'll see the coils, they're in packaging like this, and literally written on each coil is what the coil ohm is on the specific piece. You're seeing that also very common in the industry now. It may be a little bit difficult to read. I'm not too old, but it's enough where I found that I use a magnifying glass sometimes on this stuff, or the lighting needs to be right. But of course, you have your different coils here. There's one, and then you have a second one, and of course, you have your third one there. So you have the 0.25 coil that's in there. You have a 0.5 coil that's actually in there. And then last but not least, you also have a 1.5 coil that is actually in there. So you have 3 different coils. Now, there's one last one. Remember, I said that there was actually 4. And this guy looks very different from all of the other guys. And you're going to notice that it's not in any kind of packaging. And this right here is what is called a rebuildable coil. Some people like to rebuild their own coils. That's kind of up to you. I personally would just stick with the ones that you just screw on and that you use, but this little guy is in a box, so you can mess with that whenever you want. Now, last but not least, and I did actually forget to say this in the very beginning, there's another attachment that is in this that is really a great attachment there. So let's say you're about halfway full on your liquid, and you want to switch your liquids very quickly. You might have another tank from another unit, and now you're like, oh, shucks, I can't use it on this because this is all in one. Aha. Well, they've done one other nice little attachment. You take off the top, and then you got this guy right here. So what this is this is an adapter that literally goes down there. You can have a little bit of liquid in there. Don't worry about it. It's going to make that connection point. And then you screw this on here, and I'm not going to screw it on, everybody, because it will make it more difficult to show you the other things there. So you'd actually screw this piece on. Now you can put a different tank or a clearomizer on top of there, as long as it is a 510 threading that you have. So they really kind of thought about everything on this unit, which is very, very nice. Like I said, we wanted to go through the box. Here's your manual. This one is quite a bit thicker because, like I said, everybody, there's a ton of different things within the menu. You can even upgrade it through the joytech.com website. So a lot of interesting things as far as the box. Now, using of the actual model itself is extremely easy. And what we're going to do now is show you, like on this guy right here, we do have the coil that's actually on there. I'm going to unscrew the coil here, and I'm going to reveal the screen side that you see right there. It's very, very important when you have a brand new coil or a new unit with a new coil that you do prime it. Priming is extremely easy on these units that you have right here. All you simply do is you take this screen portion. Some other different models, if it's not a Joytech, it might be open where you can literally see the white wicking, that cotton wicking there. And what you want to do is you want to take about 5 drops of e-liquid and just drip it on in there in your different areas. And like right now, you notice that it's all on the top. I'm going to give it a minute there, and I'm going to let it saturate down a little bit. So usually you're going to do about 4 or 5 drops on there. If you put too much in there, you can just put it upside down on a napkin or something of that nature. But let's say if you did oversaturate it, you put it on there, you might get a little bit of liquid in your mouthpiece, but it isn't that big of a deal. So that's your first part about the priming that you're going to do. Now that we've primed that, it just simply screws on there, which is very, very nice. There we go. And now your next step is to actually fill up your tank that you have there. So now on these guys here, it's about halfway that you want to fill it on up there. You don't want to go all the way to the top. You go all the way to the top, you can't accommodate any room for the coil head and everything else that you have. So we fill that guy, let's say right about to that level there. Now I simply just drop this guy on in here, and I close it on up. Very, very easy to use. Top fill design is fantastic. Took them long enough to have top fill designs, huh, everybody? So you fill this up. Your last step of priming a brand new one is, I don't want to fire this yet. Brand new coil. I'm now going to put it down. I'm going to let it sit for about 5 minutes. That's not only for this specific unit, but it's actually for all different e-cigs. So if you're watching this video, no matter what the e-cig is, you always want to prime your coil, and then of course let it sit for, I always say, about 5 minutes. Now, we've talked about the liquid and how to actually put that in there. It's very, very easy. Of course, your on-off is very, very easy. It's 5 clicks for on, 5 clicks for off. This you can lock into place everything else that you have. Now on this one, I do already have it to the wattage setting, so I'm going to change my wattage setting. On this one, I did put in that 0.25 coil. 0.25 coil, I can really bring up that wattage. So like on this guy right here, I've got her at about 31.5 watts, and that's my personally what I enjoy on this specific unit. So, you do have that as far as where your wattage settings are. You can, of course, lock it into place, which is very nice. Your last things that I do want to mention is, of course, it comes with two different mouthpieces, or drip tips as it's actually called. They just pop on out there. Now, they may look kind of similar, but you're going to notice that one is a little bit wider, and that is to accommodate when you're running this kind of more in that heavy duty mode, that lower mode, where you're just going to get a little bit more vapor. It's going to be airy, it's going to be more full. The other thing is, we keep on talking about airflow control. Airflow control was really great, let's say a year or 2 years ago, as airflow control kind of allowed a user to restrict their airflow or bring it on up, which was very similar to how a pull of a cigarette would be. Some people like to pull harder, some people like the softer pull. But now when we get into this, lower stage that I'm talking about of that 0.25, now airflow control is playing a secondary role and a very important role. So on this one right here, showing you very, very closely, hopefully you guys can see it. You'll see your 5 different airflow control settings. You just turn it to the left or to the right, and that's literally you can visually see it as it's opening up and it's actually physically closing. Now with this here, let's say, I have this 0.25 and I have it really, really tight. I only have, let's say, one of those air nozzles open. What's going to happen is I can, on my personal habit, I can feel that the vapor's too warm and that I'm just not enjoying it. Well, now you have a simple fix. You just open up that airflow control. Now that allows more air, which is going to cool it down more, and it's going to allow for the proper inhale for each specific user. So a lot of great things with this specific model here. Just kind of showed you the model itself out of the box, and of course putting everything in there and actually using it. This is the eGrip 2 Lite, everybody, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. And if you want to watch any other videos, you're more than welcome to. Just pop by my YouTube channel or, of course, the website. And we'll see you later, folks.